And certainly he's a good God and deserves all the praises and thanksgiving this morning. Good morning out to you there. Wonderful Tuesday morning once again, and Johnny is still dancing. You know, he's been dancing for the past 30 minutes. And he's feeling good because the God he serves is alive. That means that he is also alive. Good morning, welcome back. And the key thing this morning is that it is back to school time. Charlie, last night, the conversation started about pressure, school fees and stuff like that. When you're told that school has a new page, there's only one thing that comes to mind.
Money. And these days, you know, the schools have, I don't know if they've devised certain needs. So they're doing swimming, they're doing
that's the private schools.
They are doing reading club, they are doing expedition, they are doing drama club, they are doing plenty things, and the kids want to participate. When you want them to grow and become explorative and creative, they need to be part of it. And it's all money.
It is.
and honestly, Johnny, I mean, in the conversation, I think one thing was clear that the people that I spoke to suggested that government should take a look at our public schools again, because look. If you look at the fees that the private schools are charging and that of the public schools, it's a huge difference. Right. Now, people are rushing to the private school because of what they offer, okay, in terms of what they teach, how they teach, the commitment to making sure the child is doing well. They can't find same at the various public schools. And so the issue is that, look, the economy isn't good. We have to send our kids to private schools and pay huge fees. You have to put our public schools in good shape so that at least
everybody else can.
Yes, we can be.
My father, has to be fair, and it will give most Ghanaians the opportunity to attend school and have the good education we're looking for, the holistic one that the private schools will readily, you know, cater for. Because, like Bright said, we all complain that the economy is hard, but when it comes to education, everyone is willing to give up whatever they need to do to make sure their children get the great foundation they need. Because once that foundation is strong, now they can compete internationally.
Go anywhere.
They can get access to, you know, overseas, the foreign schools, which most people will end up, you know, wanting to attend. So I think we have to look at it. We're talking about education for all and global education as it is now, where we're in a global economy, everything is so interlinked. You need that great foundation to start off.
When I was growing up, I mean, within the Bubuashi enclave, there was the Awudume School, there was Kanisha Anglican, there was Bishop, there was K1, and the grades were good.
And they were good,
you know, in my school, for example, we had people who had 10 ones, 8 ones. Some of us had the 12 ones, and the grades were good. So we could have, we attended the same grade schools like you find those in Prince of Peace or St. Teresa's or Datus attend. Today, the narrative has changed.
It's changed totally.
The highest grade you can get in some of those schools is grade 17, and sometimes 23, and you're wondering what exactly is missing. Because the same public schools that we all attended.
It's the same one.
And so, I always say,
is it lack of attention from supervisors?
Lack of attention, lack of commitment.
On the part of the teachers?
Lack of resources. The resources are not there. Look, textbook, if you like, take a trip to any private school. Look for the textbooks. They are there.
Everyone.
Look for the workbooks.
Including what we used to call pamphlet.
Exactly. They are there. Go to the public school and you find 3 people trying to share a textbook. That's not good.
I think it will also come back to both government's, you know, input and sometimes the teachers and parents associations input, because you realize that when it also comes to the private schools, the PTAs are strong and they make sure they would work together to give whatever the children need. Whereas when we come back to the public schools, we don't see so much of the parent-teacher collaboration and the, you know, willingness to cater, because the assumption is public school is meant to be cheap, it's for the governments, they'll take care of everything. And I think that also may be a point we should look at.
It can be cheaper and the quality is there.
Will still be good.
Because in other parts of the world, I don't think that private schools are a thing that they talk about.
No.
Basic school is virtually run by.
In any case,
they're community schools and everyone is allowed to go.
In any case, look at our secondary school system. Akraka is a public school.
Right.
Wesley Grammar.
Let's say all the so-called
apart from maybe Akusumo International and a few others. All of these are public schools. But the quality is good. So why can't we translate it down there?
And so this morning on BBC, it looks like we're in the month of September. It's back to school in almost all the countries across the world. And so in the United States, the kids are going to school, and because of the shooting, they are thinking of manufacturing backpacks, bulletproof backpacks for their kids
to insulate the kids from
and so
stray bullets.
When I heard the news, I kept thinking, okay, so they have no problems with textbooks, chalk, pencil,
they're now thinking backpack.
They are thinking of backpack to protect the kids. And I was like, so over here, what do we think about?
Chalk, as you said.
In this day and age, you have our schools using chalk. In this day and age, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Amma is the doctor. If you're writing, you know, and the powder and inhaling it and all of that, it has its own repercussions. In this day and age, who does that? In this day and age, you get into a public school and there's not even a Veronica bucket for them to wash their hands. And yet we keep teaching them in classroom, wash your hand as frequently as possible when you use, and the water is not there. So how do we expect them to?
A few organizations, UNICEF, for instance, if you go to the northern parts of the country, they have devised a very nice thing. I've forgotten the name of the thing, but it's this gallon, where they have made a hole in the gallon, tied it with some thread, and there's a piece of wood stuck at the end of it. So the kids go step on it, and then the gallon turns this way, and the water start dripping, and the washing. I mean, that's a local thing.
I hear running water.
I hear it's UNICEF idea, and when you go up north, it's all over there. So you see, our public officials will need to turn another eye to basic schools. I think that if we want to get free senior high school, then we must, after, take a look at the basic schools. Make sure that we are sending our kids to the public schools. Now, when you do that, then the incomes that we get, which is already under threat, at least get some.
Look, I know some headmasters who will do their weekly reports or monthly reports, send it to their supervisors, and
we need A, B, C, D,
and it doesn't happen because when it gets to the supervisor, he keeps it because he thinks that he has submitted it to the metro so many times, nobody is listening, so he keeps it. And the headmaster says, I had a chat with a lot of them because of Community Connect, and they tell me, look, sometimes they don't even have chalk, they don't even have duster, sometimes they don't even have soaps for the kids to wash their hands. And the PTA comes to me, like Amma said, the parents think that it's government, it must be free. And some of them, those who pay, actually come demanding for, you know, and there's, for example, the Amma levy. I don't know if anybody paid it.
Anyway, Johnny, we'll come back to that and have more discussion.
Yesterday, I put up a post. You know, I had a cane.
Yes,
and I put up a post, and I was holding Daniel. I asked the people, you know, what do they remember from back in the day? And everybody who spoke said their teacher was wicked because sometimes they were even caned for doing nothing.
Right.
For
but
not
I'll tell
offending.
you my experience when we come back. But anyway, thank you for staying with us. It's time for news this morning here on Newday. Well, good morning and welcome to Morning News here on Newday. My name is Nana Ama Ajiman, and we're going to start off with the headlines for today's news bulletin. Allied Bank in Takoradi. Customers of First Allied Savings and Loans in Takoradi besieged the premises demanding for their deposits. Economist Dr. Osei Asibe has named China the leading cause of the seeming scramble for Africa by the EU, US and UK. Fake electrical gadgets. More than 96% of electrical products sampled by the Ghana Standards Authority fail to conform to standards. China reports new African swine fever. China reported another outbreak of deadly African swine fever late on Monday as the highly contagious disease spreads rapidly through the world's top pork producer. Now on to our first story. Customers of First Allied Savings and Loans in Takoradi besieged the premises demanding for their deposits. The customers who were unable to withdraw their money have accused officials of the breach of contract.
when TV3 News got to the premises of the First Allied Savings and Loans facility around 11 a.m. on Monday, the customers do not understand why their monies will not be released to them.
I came here for fixed deposit. Somebody introduced me to this place. I deposited almost 2 billion. I can't even talk.
Who sent that? I want to one kind of quality. I
don't understand why they refuse to tell us the truth. We may understand when we are told the truth. I need the money to pay my wars fees.
My boy now, my Bobra and Quasiaba, pay more to them, ever call before no okay, Jibusia, or who crowd there, Sabia Quasam Penny, Mr. Mia Quasam Penny.
Police reinforcement was brought in to ensure order as we were told a customer had attempted removing a flat screen television set from the wall. An official of the bank then explained to them that their monies are in 2 to 5 year bonds which will mature soon. But this only agitated them further.
If the bank is collapsing, we should be told. The stories they tell us every day do not help us at all.
Too much.
Maybe hostel fee or 10 million.
I have deposited my ward's hostel fees here. I am always told to write a letter, which I do. Sometimes I sit here all day and no one attends to me.
Any day or me be to school. Na me tna asem a me kemenyi brisamo. Da me be su ya ku blede ya nkasa mo ho. Nti wo ma me hu da me ba no sisi on ko school anado boko school. Ma me hwehwe fi won ho anyen.
For now, unless there's divine intervention, the woes of the customers of First Allied Savings and Loans will continue. Reporting for TV3 News, Irama Smith, Takrady.
And there will be more updates in our subsequent bulletins. Let's move on. African countries have shown a healthy appetite for Chinese loans, but some experts say now there is worry that the continent is increasing in debt to China and could soon choke. Concerns have been raised as to whether Africa should be wary of Chinese debts. Well, there is more in this report.
A BBC report and analysis raises the question as to whether Africa should be worried about the growing indebtedness to China. The Entebbe-Kampala Expressway is still a tourist attraction for Ugandans, nearly 3 months after it opened. The 51-kilometer, that's 31-mile, 4-lane highway that connects the country's capital to the Entebbe International Airport was built by a Chinese company using a $476 million, that's 366 million euro loan from the China Exim Bank. The Chinese loans comes as many African countries are once again in danger of defaulting on their debts more than a decade after many had their outstanding borrowing written off. At least 40% of low-income countries in the region are either in debt distress or at high risk, International Monetary Fund warned in April. Chad, Eritrea, Mozambique, Congo Republic, South Sudan, and Zimbabwe were considered to be in debt distress at the end of 2017, while Zambia and Ethiopia were downgraded to high risk of debt distress. China is now the single largest bilateral financier of infrastructure in Africa, surpassing the ADB, the European Commission, the European Investment Bank, the International Finance Corporation, the World Bank, and the Group of 8, that's G8 countries combined. China has the lion's share of African debt, but the countries are borrowing from many other sources internationally. So far, China has only paid lip service to such long-term support that will wean African countries of their dependency on the Asian tiger.
Economist Dr. Osei Asibe has named China the leading cause of the seeming scramble for Africa by the EU, US and UK. Speaking in an interview with Natalie Ford, he noted the Ghanaian government must revise its trade policies and investment approach with China and other foreign investors so as not to be shortchanged.
China is now the single largest bilateral financier of infrastructure in Africa, surpassing the ADB, the European Commission, the European Investment Bank, the International Finance Corporation, the World Bank, and the Group of 8 countries combined. Global management consulting firm McKinsey & Company analysis revealed that the amount of loans Beijing had made to Africa had tripled since 2012. It further projects that revenue for Chinese firms in Africa could hit $440 billion by 2025. British Prime Minister Theresa May has said by 2022 she wants the UK to be the G7's #1 investor in Africa, with Britain's private sector companies taking the lead in investing the billions that see African economies growing by trillions. Economist Dr. Osei Asibe says China is responsible for the increased momentum by G7 nations to shore up investments in Africa.
China did not build that master-servant relationship where, it's only about aid. They came in with more investment focus, investing in roads, investing in mining, investing in oil, gas. And it also fit very well into even our own president's mantra of Ghana beyond aid.
Investment and financing arrangements with China have led to Africa making significant new gains in trade. In 2010, China emerged the major source of finance for investment in new commodity extraction and helped boost the international market price for African exports. From January to September 2017, China was the leading source of investment in terms of project numbers in Ghana, registering 25 projects. In spite of these gains, economist Dr. Osei Asibe warns Ghana can be short-changed if it fails to revise its trade policies and investment approach with China and other foreign investors.
I don't think we should continue to give them so much incentive, tax breaks, and so that in the end they will produce and government earns nothing from the revenue that is generated. I think now we need to redefine that. Much as we want them, they also want us.
China-Africa Research Initiative at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies has sounded alarm bells that African countries might be unable to repay Chinese loans due to fluctuating commodity prices and decreased absorptive capacity.
Former UBS trader Kweku Adoboli, convicted of fraud in 2012, is facing deportation to Ghana after being detained at Livingston Police Station. Kweku Adoboli was released in 2015, having served 4 years of a 7-year sentence of a £1.4 billion fraud at Swiss bank UBS. Foreign nationals sentenced to more than 4 years are automatically considered for deportation. His spokesperson said he was being held at Scotland's Dungavel Immigration Removal Centre and that the Home Office has indicated its intention to deport him on or soon after September 10. He was detained when attending a monthly check-in at Livingston Police Station. Adoboli is Ghanaian, but he has lived in the UK since the age of 12. The 2011 UBS rogue trader scandal caused a loss of over $2 billion at Swiss bank UBS as a result of unauthorized trading performed by Kweku Adoboli, a director of the bank's global synthetic equities trading team in London, in early September 2011. More than 96% of electrical products sampled by the Ghana Standards Authority failed to conform to standards. The Director General, Professor Alex Dodu, made this known at a news conference here in Accra.
According to the Ghana Standards Authority, more than 92% of all products sampled failed to meet the LI 1541 labeling requirements. A market surveillance also revealed all extension boards sampled failed the critical parameter test and generally labeling requirements. It was also revealed that only 7 out of 127 footwear samples examined and tested for conformity passed the test. Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, said the authority would continue to conduct sweeps at market centers to check such fake products. On whether the authority is not wasting resources on sweeps rather than checking products from the entry points, Professor Dodu admitted the lapse but was quick to add that the authority is putting in stringent measures to control the flow of the goods into the country.
GSA and for those products regulated by FDA and Customs are the only agencies now at the ports. So what does that mean? That means that if we see products in town It's either we did not do our work at the ports or something happened. We have a quality police. We call it market surveillance team, but my short word is quality police. And what we are doing is that we are removing them from the market. We are removing them from circulation. We are applying the needed sanctions. Of footwear, 125 different pieces of footwear checked. Only 5 met Ghana standards for footwear. People don't realize that the footwear you wear can damage your health seriously if it doesn't meet the standards.
He said the authority would ensure that products on the market meet the standards, adding Ghana will not be allowed to serve as a dumping ground.
We as GSA cannot blame anybody. We are supposed to be at the ports. So our view is that, yes, we know they're coming through the land lines, the land borders illegally. When we see a product illegally in town, we are going to ask you how it got in, because we should have seen it. If we didn't see it, then it came in illegally. And if it came in illegally, then it should go out.
The Ghana Standards Authority is mandated under the Standards Authority Act 1973 to undertake conformity assessment activities.
Some pensioners are calling for an upward review of the retirement age of 60 years. On the sidelines of an event in Accra, they argue that after 60, they could still serve the nation.
Section 71(1) of the Constitution states that a person holding a civil service post shall, in accordance with Article 199 of the Constitution, retire from the service on reaching age 60. Justices of the Supreme Court may, however, voluntarily retire at age 60 or stay on till the compulsory age of 70. Some pensioners argue the retirement age should rather be pegged at 65. They argue that at 60, they could still offer service to the nation.
I appreciate the fact that it's in the Constitution, but I think it's about time we looked at that and asked ourselves why we're asking people who have still so much to give are being required to stop working at the age of 60.
They are calling for an upward revision of the retirement age to at least 65.
A president can be older than 60 years. Take our president, for example.
Labour expert Benjamin Arthur, however, disagrees. He explains that the youthful state of Ghana's population will put a strain on employment if the retirement age is increased.
How prudent is it to revise the pension age upwards?
If you look at our economic atmosphere, you also want to look at age of retirement to wage bill. You also want to look at the opportunities for employment. You also want to look at the indices of job security and the rest. When you put all these things together for us and you look at our local context, it will not be wise.
He proposes changes in social security planning to enable pensioners retire comfortably.
The actual interest that push people to demand higher brackets for retirement is social security, a need, because people believe that when I stay on, I'm able to earn more, I'm able to sustain myself. So if we can get this question addressed, that at the end of your active work life, when they retire, they will be very comfortable. I am telling you, nobody or majority of the people will never ask for extension of their compulsory retirement ages.
It is not the first time the retirement age of 60 is being contested. In February, a US-based legal practitioner, Professor Stephen Kweku Asari, called for the retirement age to be pegged at 70. He referred to the current retirement age of 60 as a constitutional taboo. Noang Falong, TV3.
Moving on to international news, China reported another outbreak of deadly African swine fever late on Monday, its third new case in 2 days, as the highly contagious disease spreads rapidly through the world's top pork producer. The latest case, the 8th since the virus was first reported in the country a month ago, was found in the city of Wuzhai. The Agriculture Ministry said 2 hours drive west of Shanghai in eastern China's Jiangsu province. The government said it will shut live hog markets in the affected provinces and impose a ban on transporting pigs and pork products from the provinces, the most drastic measure taken so far, and one set to have major repercussions across the supply chain. The virus is transmitted by ticks and direct contact between animals and can also travel via contaminated food, animal feed, and people moving from one place to another. There is no vaccine for the disease, but it is not harmful to humans. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more here on Newday. Stay with us.
For all who have their birthdays today, happy birthday to you. Live long, stay strong, and learn to do no wrong. Front pages of the dailies today. The Finder newspaper says carnage on our roads. 157 perish in July alone. Over 1,000 killed in 7 months. 7 die in road crash in the Bonahafa region. And maiden licensing bid round to begin in October. China promises Africa debt relief and avoid craze for wealth. ADBMD advises service personnel. Avoid craze for work. The Ghanaian Times says employment ministry workers of collapsed banks to meet over redundancy issues. Ignatius Bafwe were there. And China does not support Chinese galamseyers, according to our president. And gruesome murder of couple at Ebra Dunkwa. Plus, fake 96% imported electrical products substandard, according to the Ghana Standards Authority. Comes with a photograph of the Director General, Professor Alex Dodo. If the things are fake, why are you keeping them here? Daily Guide. FOCAC summit takes off in Beijing. Linguist, Queen Mother murdered in Abradunkwa. And we're talking Zoom Lion distribution of 500 trucks to MMDAs, the newly created ones. Auditor General blows 7.6 million Ghana cedis on cars. And mosquito cries over NDC tribalism. The Daily Graphic reports that NAPCO applicants start work. 5 modules kick-start in October. Ochami wife killed at Abradunkwa. And 197 out of 204 electrical items substandard, according to the Ghana Standards Authority. The BNFT says Ghana Economic Forum 2018, GEF 2018 opens today. And banks reduce loan books as investment overtake loans in income and scrap fertilizer subsidy coupon. Nothing Agric Director. Why? We will tell you. And IMF asked for time to decide on the 2 billion Sino-Hydro deal. Consolidated Bank could close down 100 more branches, and I shiver at that particular news. Job losses. Too many of them were told the Ministry of Employment is engaging the folks. Then we know that there are massive layoffs within the media terrain as well. And so the unemployment weight is becoming bigger. Are we able to support it? What's the plan? I don't see, so far, nobody has said any plan.
Anyway, so but on the other side, NAPCO applicants will start work apparently on the 1st of October. 5 modules will kickstart, and we're being told that these are the applicants whose background has been checked and all their credentials, match what they reported with. And we're happy that at least that will take off those young people who seemingly did not have anything to do or would have been on the road as miscreants and would be causing vices where would have to again engage the police for all these activities. So we're happy NAPCO is going to start. We hope we'll get good report from that, and at least it will equip these young people with some skills that even if after NAPCO they decide to go on their own, which is what we're looking at, having these private institutions owned by young people who will then be self-sustained and not depend on government year after year for their sustenance. So we hope that certainly goes well. October 1st, we'll look out for that.
You see, the NAPCO thing is employing what? How many? A little over 1,000.
100,000, that's what
100,000. Okay, so 54,500 okay, who have been cleared. The last time young people queued up at the Elwak Sports Stadium, there was 84,000 young people who were looking for jobs at the immigration service. Only 500 of them got the jobs. Now, police would-be police applicants have not come. Military, SEPs, or immigration, we don't know the totality of the numbers. Plus those who don't even want to work in the security service, those who want to work in, the private sector, banks and whatnot. The numbers are huge. This is good news, but I'm saying that, look, if you're looking at the numbers that we have and the ripple effect, or if you like, the multiplier effect that it will have on us as a people, because the devil will find work for the idle hand. So I'm not surprised that we have a recent spate of robbery and other petty crimes, as the police themselves said, you know, on their ascendancy in Accra. Could we do something? What are the alternatives? Apart from NAPCO, what else do we have? That's my question.
Certainly.
That's my question.
That's
apart from NAPCO, what else do we have?
And that's where we'll go back to education, where last week we were talking about how, you know, pre-tech and vocational skills were to equip us with some life skills, so that whether there's NAPCO or there's nothing, you have some skills at least to start off something, to start weaving something, to start sewing something, to sell. Because we can't, I mean, let's be true. We can't have government employing every single one of us.
Not at all.
And so the rest of us, we have those skills. Can we start doing something? Even when government is employing you, what stops you from having that on the side? Because government salaries will never be able to cater for all your needs and all your wants. So if you have it on the side and you're also able to employ others, why not? Then we'll all be helping.
Johnny, I think that the job loss issue is quite... for me, a dangerous one. Very, very. I mean, yesterday I was trying to take a look at all these job losses in the media. To the EIB, TV Africa, the Group Indom Media company. So, if you put that side with what has happened to the financial sector, then we're in real trouble. You see, the key thing is...
And those are the ones that have been reported.
Yes, The key thing is, if we get to know these losses, and we're also told that we have created this number of jobs, then we can say that, okay, in, out, we can do the calculations. But this is a situation where what we are hearing are just the losses. We do not know how much or how many we have created as an economy. And there's a general feeling that things are not too good. Incomes are too low. What you get within a week, it drains off. Even though a lot of people have said that, look, we have changed our lifestyle. In the past, after work, we used to go and sit and drink a bottle of beer or two. Now we have afford
and still, you can't even
and
afford
yet, the incomes do not stay when we get them. So I think that we need to sit down as a country and take a look at what exactly is happening. It's not good news at all. If we are not careful, by the end of the year, before we start the next year, we'll be running into real trouble.
Exactly.
Except that we are told what is happening, and then we'll see the measures to deal with these things.
Look, and you see, even more...
NAPCO is good, but let's see more of that.
Even more dangerous, you have people who may not have a certain skill, but because they are tied to the apron strings of politicians and they get hand-downs, they have not made an effort to look for anything. Now the politician whose apron string you are tied to cannot even afford to give you the hand-downs anymore. And that's the danger. Because if Mr. A, Mr. B do not have, and I have, they will come for me. They will come, yes, they will need to survive. So they will come for me. I mean, that and you see, on the reverse, our police, the numbers are inadequate. The police themselves do not deny it. Because UN says one policeman to 500 people. What do we have? So they know that the numbers are inadequate. And so we must prevent rather than trying to cure, wait to cure later on. I'm not happy. I am not happy at all. I am not.
Well, also, Professor Dodo is back in the news talking about fake imported electrical cables being substandard. I think we've known this for a long time.
He's talking too much.
I think we've heard it over and over again. But the question is, so what are we doing moving forward to make sure that they don't get into the country? We don't want to get them in and then we test and say 96% are not working. Because what happens is when we use them in our homes, we know these are the causes of the fires, the many outbreaks we hear about. People dying, we losing lives, coming back to sit here, discuss it, and it becomes a phenomenon. So it's not just about coming to inform us. We've heard all right, but Ghana Standards Authority, could you make sure that at the immigration, at the doors, the post, where the entry is coming, we make sure that these things don't even get in the first place. So we save you the time to have to go through each and every one of them again and come out with these reports. I think it's high time
the Food and Drugs Authority, for example, told us about a year or so ago, maybe more, that the vegetables that we eat, most of those cabbage, lettuce, carrots had fecal matter on it because of how they are planted. Sorry if you're having your breakfast. I'm not trying to ruin. I'm trying to raise your attention to the reality on the ground. That's the Food and Drugs Authority. It says those fruits and veggies that we eat have fecal matter on it. And the Ghana Health Service advises that we should eat a lot more of these things, the Ministry of Health. since the FDA told us that there was fecal matter on it, they know, they tested it. The things are still on the market. What have they done about it?
Exactly.
Now, it is just like what the Standards Authority is doing. About 6 or 8 months ago, we were told that we had the cables we have are substandard, blah, blah, blah. I am not raising motive, but look, the SDA pastor who lost his children and a wife and mother-in-law out there at Dansoman, you will find out that eventually when the report comes out, they will tell you there was a bit of fire somewhere, or there was a bit of substandard electrical cable somewhere, and all of that. So lives are being lost, people are being devastated. We know what it is. This conversation started. We were told that we're going to get to the table to have a conversation. What happened to the conversation? Why is Professor Dodu talking again? Now, if he's telling us what the problem is, when he's supposed to be solving the problem, should we be clapping for him? Does he expect that? Professor Dodu, about a month or so ago, told us that only one lift in this country is standardized. All the other lifts in all the buildings.
Have the rest been shut down?
Yes. Has he shut them down? Professor Dodu. So you tell us that only one lift in this whole country, which means that the possibility of you getting stuck or getting killed or getting maimed in a lift in this country is so high. And count the number of lifts we have, even around the airport enclave. Count the number of lifts. Go to Kolebu, there's a lift there. So why isn't he shutting them down to put the standards in place? He's talking too much.
Johnny, but just when mentioning what you said also brings the flip side. Is it that maybe the GSA also may not have the authority to actually shut these things down?
It is an authority. It's a
Ghana.
It's no longer a board.
When you have these discussions with them, they will tell you that they only have, the requisites to inform, and then the legal instruments will then give another authority the, chance to actually enforce it. So let's just on blindside assume that this is the position of the GSA. I believe then that this information was not meant for us. It was meant for which other authority is supposed to enforce that law. And so whoever has to do it, we are pleading with GSA this morning. We don't know what your story is, but now you've given us the information and we're tasking you to actually let that thing happen. Make sure these electrical products are taken off the market. Make sure new ones don't enter the market. And if possible, maybe you should give us the names of the exact products so that when we also go out on the market buying these things, we look out for the names. Otherwise,
I have a firm feeling that there are staff of GSA, staff of FDA who are complicit in these things. Because they're supposed to be at the borders, at the ports. How the hell do these things get in the first place?
Exactly.
You can't be trumpeting and telling us that 96% are what?
If you read the story, it says that the goods are coming from, they use the beaches. That's the story. And then he says our borders. And so he says that, and that's always been the cliche. There's a collaboration with the security agencies that seeks to arrest and prosecute people who bring in these goods. So it suggests that the borders are still open. We're told that the Eastern Corridor Road, the beaches, are where these products are coming in. So suggests that our borders are still porous. We don't have the ability to prevent these goods from coming in. And then it comes to the point, what kind of collaboration is there between the GSA and the security agencies? We only told about it. What kind of collaboration? You see, this is not a new issue. It is not a new thing. We've all been told about borders not good enough,
not being porous,
fake goods coming in, and still we are being told the same story. So where do we go?
But you see, sorry, when you get to the borders, okay, if you drive from here to Sogakope, when you get to the Sogakope border, or you get to Aflao, there are people there who have been giving guns, okay, and they check these things and they take every box and they make people come through and go out. So the checking that they do, is it Father Christmas checking? What are they doing?
As Uncle Ebo call it, the non-system system where if you slip something, someone can just take it off.
They have guns. They have guns. If you get to the border, you find GRA stuff there, you find national security there, you find BNI there, you find all of them. They have guns. They are all there. You find them sitting there plenty. The things that they check, and they check your goods.
What are they
mark them. They mark them and sign off and say, okay, it's approved, it's cleared. Do they know that what they are passing is fake? They should stop telling us these cockaboo stories. Anyway. You take salaries and you don't do what you have to do, and you come and you're shouting and telling us these things. How? People are dying. Houses are getting burnt, and we don't know.
Anyway. All right.
Should I be excited?
Let's see what happens. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, there is more on the show. Stay right there with us.
being consolidated, and in fact yesterday the news from the Western region that the First Allied Bank had some challenges allowing its depositors to withdraw funds. We're asking the big fat question, is the public losing confidence in our financial institutions? Let's go to Chakradi now, rant on the streets.
The problem is scores of customers of the First Allied Savings and Loans at the Takoradi Market Circle branch here in the Western region yesterday morning besieged the banking premises in a bid to withdraw their deposits. I've spotted some of the customers and they tell us that since morning they've been unsuccessful in their quest to withdraw their deposits. Some tell me that they have deposits here in the tune of 2 billion Ghana cedis. That's 200,000 Ghana cedis. Some also say they have in excess of 100,000 Ghana cedis. They are frustrated that they are unable to withdraw their deposit. According to them, they need the money to enable them pay their war's school fees, but they have been unsuccessful. This morning on Daily Rant with me, Eric Yawaje, we want to interact with some of them to find out their story and how they are holding up. This is your Daily Rant.
Ma to stone me she na matsawo. Nti me bed ma manager so me ma ma moto. Na so ben bi po da amram na etu me nyeska ka maka fanza ma. Isa wa home. Papa. Na again so bagiska no. Ono nyim de na asam na obu no bagiska. Se man ka hwe nkyere. Ma asamai.
Nti oche de even though now wo ho na still angofo ba out.
What ba out bagiska? What ba out bagiska?
Oma you lose interest in depositing our money into bank. So you to born pool in them the discussion one can them because it is about to bank now. Everybody be using as a one sign can. Or isn't pa more current than any show.
And na Monday, our school for we. It would mean something is can't go to heaven in fees. Another Monday books will be Ramonte. The other call in the Miss Mayer investment, Mayer Mama. Why a four? In any time I said, we have school. Now I'm not a diamond, I'm even Dakoto. Woman said, Master more June and June force the no. Barbara Domus came to June the mobile damage shop and 1 half. That man son next month. Next month, Messiah by no, that was 25th July. One be August by no so was his skin war. Then so a Monday or a 3rd of September, and no small day. The Zoom would do house was his skin war. Our year, Kuma, you go police station.
A few abundant now, Wabandam.
Some na you so be no could disco. Say, shareholders been the way you win scale for bank no more. You why a bisa won't to me cast me parent on tea, yellow one yellow you more codumo.
Now, where by walk about some show?
By July was August. August was September. No, feed the September no bad a wapa. My band that's one farm. This one my mobile papa. Sikana wajin. Nyina na wodokwan. Sisi ametwa monko baby ala.
Who's kabe hino wa?
100 million.
Hey. Na na ka bibi there even though wonyim there won hole che won na still a wo ba baji sika wo last time wo baji sika wo ebeka ya.
Make 11 July. No baji sika na asam so esi. No baji sika.
Na nyim dadam no rekodo.
Na mim dadam no rekodo. It's me that magic also, mommy, quite discount baba. It's some small baby, still. Never shall wine on ya, this go butcher. No, pick a crowd, mum, still. This is some you are me German party. In fact, oh yes, Sankasa. And some money, John Share, don't you miss come from mum.
Now, Esha Molko dear, Aberdeentina Wabandam, the Banksy, what to Tumnade.
I'm messaging the beer and paying from what down when you with me. Indeed, the one channel when form painful. There's a 10 million to my for a new one wanted someone to see answer we bank on chair on the TV. I was near Fibu wedding Canable bank can be paying. When you're the significant one chan. Because I mean, I pay them free. Between one manager on you back to the side, there might be a school they would fees. Then call Bapa or Pad, I'm a case here. Maybe Jimmy didn't catch him to be a to me fees and I could talk to books here. And come and quiet my chain. Well, I paid the menu. So I be preparing to televisions and come someone second when they go down cry or what Smith can comes me equate.
Oh, since I'm on there, and that should be our local banks and die out. Only Biao, baby with this kind of cotton, only say, a save was on your save. You and the mamma at Bank of Ghana say, only you savings and loans companies, no, they are not part of them and are monitoring a loss. Anna, Omuja almost this can be our pair. Yes, we name this Kakoto and him say, the one see a common the lines as about say, I'm almost quite say, almost to me Jiska. You want to make this can quite this got to any Bank of Ghana, Mobile my them. I send me by a check. I check the 3 months ago. I send me by Yanton. 5 banks or 7 banks no Muguni, and they want once and I savings and loans no dear. Omo musical to we are all Ghanaians. Until one boy, yes, I can see this Kakoto savings and loans no. You know, one boy, yes, found the influence because it's I say, usually deposit in the area on one customer pay, this can amount they are invest baby, any question on this kind of call. Okona use can basa. Indeed, yes, I chair Bank of Ghana for say, almost almost share a coin of Fasa, savings and loans no money back home more. I go to a microfinance phone in Naso because one of my mom license say, to me this kind of toward the unnecessary. I must say, yes, it's a mutual shame. Someone to me, yes, and as I send bar, money is hold more responsible.
Senior Oka say, would dear pa?
Yeah, they may be pa because me, Missicano, Mediato, normal banking, honor 5 years ago, and I'm Missica the honor Muki, and me never but to be so. And I'm about 2 years. So
very pan to fire.
And this I'm a GD cry. Why do you come? Me can maybe I'm from far. Some may shaman pass you. Some may say you.
Monitoring team, no Bank of Ghana monitoring team, nam there. They are not doing their work well. Mercenaries, maybe walk around the more disca. No, they shall. Now, wama wrong picture. True picture, Nangasawanka. Because what canka bank bill Bugan Casasubu. Na yana ideas ke control no yat and tam na yehu ma ebetumi aye obo hwande bank no ko yebu hwande bank no ko bank last year oje best service and loan this year ontum dentin odo obanedam nti am da odo we wona ejuma no odo we ye pa na ye best friend again aban be mo ye ombrem na Ghana ide na manfo bre na wode wiska sakoto na wonsanka wiska wa wiska da koto bank li wonsanka wiska best friend Ghana aban be bempa na a man for parents be we school wo damiadom free chase abade chase abade but eboto trunk abeska no koto we bobe basic school we be book school to books abeska no koto we sca the bank na be yi na say we sanka that means we don't tum go school nti ye be say so be mo yi ombem na nkofu bi na do wache won tum na we dey scam na on je won tum no for scam an mo boboa
mommy a support idea there I don't want to chunk of food because why be today and you be bialing
since I'm more council order on yabutam I so there was go to yamen and say my some imagine dying there sikano ye gienska on so bet one out was one and you what the young can some yes can I allergy
I'm using the one hour day I'm on loans no won't take pressure out I'm go for one do them wouldn't go to it can answer you know yes you to me then I can get that wobble or the ball.
Say that American so Oba and the family on Mobi and the corner but can some the actual because I didn't start here and say actually Oba every day be out the American to join us while you was as no can no cry. Me my men and sir because the over can in there say bra and bra say yes be me document which can me be show me for instance your mammy date ya member for my Jimmy Sika and so my back your show your print they print out you be mammy I'm the Aban, so I'm Sanka Messica. And the other time, just say, I some more can any cray. On but to me, I can be actually, I say, I've been in your heart, I won't go to the Biana, Uncle Sell my Biana, okay, but in actual sense, yes, a man more catch on Yan Qualanca. So, the corner woman, we need to be told, say, I some now more canoe. The master, we see, and tell my master, why then, Waba.
No, boy, let you I'm in the Sana Moon. Because Missy B. Ankasa or why, as I saw on customers no be who had a cry offend the AC potting. Now, some more can necessary and there. And you was not touching Niska and also I share with the Hana there. I know a business to me to say I didn't answer. I see the dad and son because you touch some cry and ever. And you who knew the effort said the management can any crow. Say the customers need be so can any crow. Okay, because I learned that question teaching us some buy no. A buy no. Na sa rumors still goes something I didn't put a call from that I bankrupt that. Nanso so no.
Now they keep on saying say bibia pepe.
Me ekoso no wo hwa as say chibinum tum.
Oh, of course, as say chibinum tum. Ya chibinum tum na the same time so ye kan chitum no ye bank for ye first life for nkwan na say chum tum. Me dey me kan me ka kwesi Bank of Ghana for because say omo do mani nyina kwesi bank akase no so. Me say ye kan dodo na me ma me no omo ton ane odwam. Omo kaya yefo omo gina say obi ton aso ta obi ton credit ni man keten ya obobo sika ni nyina no wias ankofo no omo kom ho no mkoje sabi sika ni bia na sika de no nya na sika no ko bank akase mu sika no omo tuan keten omo so no omo doso omo sika yan keten omo no omo doso pa kasa enti mo yam adwen say bia soro ho bank akase no nko na monitoring e yedwuma ho monitoring say tumi ba ha anya say dey kwa mu issue license mo because me corner say license no certificate ni bo say Bank of Ghana mo license say offend den nyo wonya wo peter I didn't tell me to me from scan to because me say Bank of Ghana okut ni na kasa ni certificate no bo ho dey am mo say nkofo otumi gisika otumi jinkofo sika e dey to na obandema na gidie no system no dey mo ye no e be ya ma nkofo kura hyesia no dey local banks and the obi ampon fa na were mpon konkohiem yes aso ane kese yes say o man because nkofo do nsika nyina aso kwa foreign banks no one so foreign banks no so that so be bonu ma pau okọ no so kọ na o man na kase yeku o man ne de ma obi sufiri hoho no sufiri baby abenya sika na wode kọ enso yen kwan mra yen komro na mo ankasa adwuma na mo aye ni.
Well, it appears that a lot of people are becoming disenchanted with the fact that some of the traditional banks are not up to tax. They are also blaming the Bank of Ghana for not ensuring due diligence is done. This has been Eric Yoje from Takrade.
Right, thanks so much for staying there. And time now to take a look at what's on the pages of the newspapers. This morning, Daily Graphic, the Daily Guide, the Finder, BNFT, and the Times, all of them reporting very interesting, exciting stories. Key amongst them, the issue of employment. NAPCO applicants were told by the Daily Graphic to start work in October. 5 models. We'll see some people starting work on the 1st of October. The employment minister is also getting ready to meet some workers of collapsed banks. The issue of job losses also on the Times there. We'll also take a look at the Auditor General and the Daily Guide reporting that 7.6 million Ghana cedis has been blown by the Auditor General on cars. We'll take a look at exactly what the story says. My guest this morning, if we take a look at the Finder before I tell you who my guest is, talks about road accident in July 2018, 1,369 people killed in 7 months. Now, if we come to July, 157 dead in the month of July alone, road accidents. We'll take a look at how to deal with that. My guest this morning is a member of parliament for the second-day constituency. He's a member of the NPP. I'm waiting for a member of the NDC. Honorable Andrew Ejepa Mesa is here. Good morning. I hope you're doing great.
Good morning. By the grace of God, I'm well. Yourself?
Good too. We're serving country. Now, let's start our conversation this morning from the Daily Graphic. A story says that nearly 54,500 applicants of NAPCO, or the Nation Builders Corps, have been notified of their placement in 5 models of the program. And they are to start work on October 1. Some 49,642 out of the 54,481 successful applicants have accepted their placements and subsequently submitted their letters of acceptance before August 31, 2018. That was the deadline. So they've been placed in the Civic Ghana, Revenue Ghana, Educate Ghana, Enterprise Ghana, and Digitize Ghana models. Those are the 5. Don't forget that 100,000 are to be enrolled onto the program for the first year. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of NAPCO, Dr. Ibrahim Anya, said the applicants who have been notified were those whose credentials, including educational background and national service, had been verified. He also spoke about sustainability and says that the program was very expensive and could only be justified from the kind of value the country would derive from it. It is projected to cost 3 billion cedis in the next 3 years. And he said its sustainability would be seen from the productivity of the trainees. He's talking about an ally to regularize the scheme to guarantee statutory funding for it. So let's start from here. Over 54,000 getting something to do. What does it mean as far as the unemployment situation is concerned?
Well, it's appropriate to say good morning to our cherished viewers this morning, particularly those watching us from our constituency in the second day.
Right.
Of course, 54,000 who are starting in October against 100,000 is pretty significant. And what it does in the unemployment space clearly is to reduce the number of unemployed graduates, people who have finished tertiary education, by that number. We all know the situation that we find ourselves in as a country. The private sector that we all, over the years, have come to note to be the driver of growth. It's not growing as fast as we all expect to enable us accommodate many of the people who complete universities. Of course, that clearly has led to some crisis for our youth. They finish school and don't get placements in jobs. So government, faced with the reality, took a decision to, as it were, bring in some measure that would help in addressing that problem. Of course, we had the poo-pooing of the program by our political opponents. Necessarily, it's consistent, extension of national service and all that. Forgetting that we have a situation at hand as a country which requires some action to be taken. The alternative of the NAPCO is clearly something that we all could not fathom, because we know the problem that unemployment creates for our people. So government took a decision that, look, whilst we work on all our policies to ensure that the private sector grows, to accommodate many of these people who finish universities and do not find jobs, let us introduce this measure that seeks to do two things: provide them with some income as they contribute to the growth and development of our country, whilst equipping them with the requisite work experience that many employers would require from people that they seek to employ. And so the introduction of NAPCO, that clearly provides work for our junior brothers who have finished university, contribute to the nation's growth, and earn the requisite experience from real jobs, so that between the time that this program starts and the 3 years, many of the policies that government is rolling out would have taken steam, would have picked up, the private sector would have grown, and the signs are clearly on the wall, to absorb many of these people into the formal workspace. So it's a good thing, and of course, clearly, one of the models clearly seeks to equip them with some entrepreneurial skills that would put them in proper state to set up their own businesses if they so desire, of course, with the support of government. You see, this flagship policy of one district, one factory that people have spoken variously about. Clearly, we all know that Ghanaian private sector's major problem is capital. Industries are not coming up because people do not have the capacity. So a government promises that, look, I think that the way to go as a country is to industrialize. We have many raw materials that are essentially exported in their raw state, sold in their rust, some go rotten because there's no market. So I'll provide avenues, support to the private sector to leverage on our various raw materials in our various districts to ensure that we add some value to these raw materials that we have across the country. Yet, you promise one district, one factory. How many have you built? When clearly, in black and white, everybody who cared to know is aware that this is government support with private sector, because we all know our history. There was a time in this country where we had even state bakeries. That clearly collapsed. And nobody, in fact, this country even hasn't got the money to go into state-funded enterprises.
What is the point here?
The point that I'm making is that the policies that government is rolling out requires the input of all of us to make it work, so we can accommodate more of these people in those jobs when they come out, and stop the needless politicking of everything that this country or this government seeks to do.
How do we deal with the job losses, the financial sector, the media? How do we deal with it? We're trying to take a look at, we're receiving some into NAPCO, but a lot more losing their jobs. Consolidated Bank alone, 170,000. The media, other sectors. How do we deal with it?
Right. Last week I was on your platform. I guess you were off work that day. The issue of the loss of jobs in the banking space came up. It's unfortunate that the amalgamation or consolidation, if you like, of these banks would lead to some job losses, because the assurances that we all got from the Bank of Ghana was that there was no intention
to lay off
many of these people who have, through no fault of theirs, found themselves in this situation. And I sincerely empathize with the ladies and gentlemen who have lost their jobs. But the reality is what we're facing. Of course, Consolidated Bank has come out with some information that clearly says that for a new bank, a 60 million expense bill per month clearly is not sustainable. And you know, many of these banks were competing amongst themselves. So branches have been located in strategic places close to each other. Of course, with the consolidation of all the five, you can't have one bank operating 5 branches on one street. So necessarily, some may have to be closed. So it's a necessary consequence of the actions that had to be dealt with by the Bank of Ghana. I don't want to go to the legacy issues that led to the consolidation of these banks, because we've talked about it at length, and we all know what it is.
My concentration was for us to deal with how to tackle the problem.
Yeah, of course. News reportage indicate that the Minister of Labour is going to have some meeting with the labour unions representing the employees, the Bank of Ghana and the banks themselves, to see how some cushioning and some redundancy payments that would not, of course, be able to replace the revenue that they would have ordinarily earned if they were in regular employment, but would go a long way to cushion them, put them on some footing to, you know, as it were, meet their day-to-day needs whilst they look for other opportunities within the economy.
Right, I'm grateful. Let me introduce my second guest, Member of Parliament for the Tamale North constituency, a member of the NDC, Honorable Alhaji Suhini is here with us. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here. Let me say good morning to
Right, so
good morning, my good
if you take a look at the daily graphic this morning, NAPCO applicants start work, 5 models. We're told of over 54,000 to start work. On the other side, we're taking a look at job losses in the financial sector and even in the media. We're told EIB, TV Africa, and several other media houses, Group Indum. Right. Now, we're getting some in, but we're also losing some. How do we deal with those that we're losing?
Well, I think that it's important for us to be very, very honest in our approach to the discussion of employment or the lack of it in this country, because it remains a threat to the stability of this country and even to security in general. And that is why it is very important that in discussing it, we are very candid, because the people who feel the pain of it know it better than you and I, who have this opportunity to discuss it. So, I mean, commendable as this extended national service is, that's how I call NAPCO. It's an extended national service. Commendable as it is important that in discussing it, it is put in the context of the hope that was sold to the unemployed graduate, you know, in the last election. And, you know, juxtapose it against whether or not it is going to meet that hope that the unemployed graduate bought into and may have or may not have supported the change that this government called for people to help them attain. Now, what is disturbing for me is that there was a promise of jobs. Now, the promise was premised on industrializing this country. My brother can change the goalposts as many times as he wishes. The truth, however, remains that the unemployed graduates and people who were in school or those who were unemployed did not expect that the language was now going to be about the private sector leading the establishment of the factories. In fact, if you recall, there was actually even a breakdown of the factories that were going to be set up and the districts where they were going to be set up and how government was going to champion that. Maybe the communication was deliberately obscured to deceive the unsuspecting voter, and if that was the intention, it succeeded. So today they can now say, no, we didn't say we'll set up the factories. We said we're just going to create the enabling environment for the private sector to do it. And that hurts the person who you deliberately misinformed. And today that person still has no job. And that's why I'm saying that it's very important that we are candid. At least for starters, it's important to admit that, look, if you didn't understand us, we are sorry. But this is what we meant, that we're not going to be those leading the establishment of the factories. And all those districts that were identified for factory A or B were just done for the politics of it.
So
now,
it would be useful if you tell us the district and what factories were identified.
If you allow me, if you allow me, I mean,
we should be fair. Okay,
I think that
it's the raw materials in the various districts that were tabled.
Honorable Mesa, if you allow
let's
me,
be sincere.
if you allow me, I think we'll make progress. Honorable Swine, are you talking about that thing we saw? I don't know how
it was a pie chart. It was like a pie chart. That's what I'm talking about. Suggesting district and
raw materials.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So
I'm saying that, look, if that was not the intention of that communication, it's important to admit that maybe that was the intention of the communication was misunderstood, but it was public knowledge. So I'm saying that let's be honest in this discussion. Now, if you look at NAPCO, the extended national service, a participant, we are told, is going to take 700 Ghana cedis. That is, I think, before tax.
Right.
700 Ghana cedis. Now, we are told about 100,000 people are going to be employed this year. They suggest that they will be given some skills training that I don't understand, because really where these people are posted to, what kind of skills are they going to acquire that will make them employable when, for example, the industries finally come up, because they are not being sent to industries to work in the first place. But that's on the side. Now, if you multiply 700 Ghana cedis by 100,000, you're talking about 840 million Ghana cedis. I remember in the run-up to the elections also, in the debates and discussions, we're told that you could set up factories like the pottery factory in, I think, Samia Blackwell's constituency. They told us in those discussions that you could set up that factory with just about 2 million Ghana cedis. That with 2 million, you can set it up. And maybe I agree with them. Now we are using 840 million Ghana cedis to pay people for output that we can't measure. 840 million just for the first year. And yet the same government says they don't have the money to set up the factories yet. And so they expect the private sector to set it up. Can you imagine the number of factories 840 million could have established this year if this government was really committed to establishing the jobs that they promised the people, if they were committed to being honest about their promises and doing same? That aside, if you go and look at national entrepreneurs, the years that they rebranded, that's the youth enterprise support that we established, that they rebranded into national entrepreneurship something.
Innovation program.
If you look at the amount of money that was allocated to NIEP, it's just about 40 million. 40 million Ghana cedis. Now we are told with that 40 million Ghana cedis recently, they were able to equip, to assess applications from entrepreneurs, some of them university graduates, and have been able to give them some business support, which will enable some of them employ their colleagues. If the government was really committed to establishing ventures that will lead to job creation, out of this 840 million, I would have thought, and any reasonable person will agree with me, that if they gave NIEP just 100, not even the whole 800, just 100 million. Can you imagine the number of business support programs that they would have extended to these unemployed entrepreneurs or people with that skills? Because not everybody can be an entrepreneur, let's admit it. But the good thing is that those who are willing to be entrepreneurs, like those in the fashion industry, those in food industry, I have seen some very young men and women come up with great ideas, and all they need is capital. If they were beneficiaries of a portion of this 840 million that will be used to pay this extended national service, they would have expanded and would have employed those who do not have that entrepreneurial skills. Because I know, for example, those in fashion sometimes require about 15 people to be able to sew, to market, and to do all the kind of things. So if you give it to one person, you will create about 15 jobs. In some cases, more. Some people are doing, I watched a young lady on your networks the other day who had come up with some baby feet. And these are people that, if the government was committed to creating the jobs that they said they wanted to create, they would have channeled this 840 million too. But you know why this is good for them politically? It is vote buying. That is why it's for 2 years. So, recruit about 100,000 people. It is called, I think in medicine, placebo. So that they don't have the effect of not working. At the end of the month, they get some free money, in quotes, and it is for 2 years. So the election year, you recruit another 100,000. You can't measure their input or impact on GDP, but at least you keep them quiet. They take 700 every month, they vote you in power, and then you say it's for 2 years, remember? So when you win power, then you say, okay, now what next for you?
That suggests that you can know all of them will vote for the ruling government.
I am saying it is vote buying. The fact that you offer to buy somebody's vote does not mean you will always get it. Okay. But the thing is that the government's intention is to vote buy with this extended national service. So that's why I'm saying that if you look at the government's, attempt to implement many of the promises that they made to the people of Ghana, you can come to only one conclusion, and I continue to harp on it, that this government rode on the back of grand deception. And the musician Fancy Gadam song, Total Cheat, where you have people or ladies presenting themselves. A lady presents, the lyrics of the song, right? Presents herself as a virgin, only for him to find out that she's actually a born-free virgin. The deception was so grand, was so well calculated, and the sad thing is that even in government, they continue to tell those beautiful lies. I mean,
in wrapping up, we turn attention to what he answered, the fact that job losses have occurred. How do we deal with it? He has acknowledged that industry is not growing at the pace with which we can absorb these persons. But certainly there should be a way out. How do we handle it?
That's true. I mean, that is another worrying aspect of everything that is happening in this country. You look at the financial sector, and we are talking about more than thousands of people losing their jobs since this government came into power. You look at companies at the ports, they are laying off people like no one's business. Businesses in the, informal sector are folding up like no one's business. Those that are surviving are merely, just floating. They are just doing hand to mouth. Just, they are even unable to cut cost anymore. So what they do is just to, just merely to survive. They are not making any profits. Then you come to the media. People are being laid off. The media is closing down. Many media houses are shutting down.
How do we deal with it?
That is the challenge that as a country we have to face together. But it's important that we admit that we made some mistakes, and that is why we are where we are. Because if you do not accept that there is a challenge, and you continue to ride on the back of deception, that you are creating jobs and people are being employed and there is hope for the future, then you will not even have that, moral authority to call for something new to be done. Now, if you look at agriculture, for example, the NDC talked about the establishment of centers across the country. Now, that was how to distribute this fertilizer and farm machinery in our various districts, which will absorb and support those who are interested in agriculture. Everybody have talked about how agriculture is the bane, or can be, the stimuli for this economy. And it was not just the production of the food items. It was also the establishment of factories that were linked to the production of these things. And that is why, for example, the Commander Sugar Factory was started. And then the plantain plantation at Ekwimfi was also started. Now, guess what? There are two ways of doing this. One, the backward integration, and then the forward integration. As a government that was practical and visionary, we thought that generally you cannot, one solution is not foolproof. So you try both ends. So in the case of Commander Sugar Factory, we tried the backward integration. That says you put up the factory to attract the raw material. the existence of the factory will encourage people to produce the raw material that the factory needs. In the case of the Ekonfi, we started the the pineapple plantation. We started the pineapple plantations by extending, facilities to the farmers in that area to grow more pineapples. Now, Commander Sugar Factory today, because of the embarrassment of this government, the shame to put it to use, it has been shut down, and the taxpayer is the loser for it. In the case of the pineapple plantation, they saw that the pineapples were there, and then they thought this was a good idea to go and use it as propaganda as usual, as a place where they will start their one factory, one district project. The president went there with pomp and pageantry, wasted fuel with all his ministers and appointees, cut short, and announced that by the end of that year, that was last year, they were going to commission 51 of such factories. As we speak, even one block, the signboard that was erected for that ceremony, I'm told, has now been blown off by wind. That should tell you that there is simply no vision as far as this government is concerned. So even though this unemployment or joblessness situation remains a challenge, one on which they rode to come into power, they have no clue as to how to resolve the problem.
Okay, I'm grateful. And that's how he wraps up his submission. And he raises issues about commitment and says, for instance, that there are certain areas that you're heaping funds into, and that all those funds could go into also setting up certain enterprises that could trigger job creation.
It's surprising how somebody who had all these lofty ideas as to how state resources should be allocated into areas that would generate jobs was part of government for 8 years and did not contribute.
That's a lie. I wasn't part of government. First of all, it's important he corrects it. I wasn't part of it.
You have been a member of the NDC.
But I wasn't part of it.
Let me do that.
You never were able to contribute those lofty ideas.
I'll correct you, but that one has to be corrected.
Let me do that. He belonged to the NDC
to implement,
but he was not part of it.
Right.
You see, the thing that irks me the most is when the members of the NDC make statements to the effect that we deceived the people of Ghana into government. Right. We campaigned on a manifesto, just like every political party does, asking what percentage of their campaign promises in 2008 was achieved. What percentage of their campaign promises contained in their manifesto in 2012 was achieved? Was he lying to the people of Ghana at the time that he was making those promises that were not achieved over 8 years? And you say that a government that wrote on a campaign platform, a manifesto, that has done 20 months, hasn't completed its first term, deceived the people of Ghana into power. How do you reconcile the two? You've done 8 solid years, did not achieve even 20% of your manifesto promises contained in your manifesto. You were not lying. You were not deceiving. You were Angel Gabriel, told the people of Ghana the truth. As if to say we just came from Mars. We live here. And we lived through the NDC's 8 years. People have a vision. Political parties that is expressed in a manifesto that they sell to the people. We clearly have indicated, and look, I recall that last year when the Ministry of Trade launched the government's industrialization plan, 10-point industrialization plan, that the one district, one factory is only one pillar of it. And the minister has clearly stated that the one district, one factory, the intent is to set up medium to large scale industries. Of course, the other legs, other 9, deals with other smaller scale industries like the 2 million factory that you made reference to in Okujeto, a Black West constituency. So, you see, let's not sit here as political actors and make comments because you want to come back to power that one person lied, when you cannot prove 20% of your manifesto promises as having been achieved. What are we talking about? So the point that I'm making is that this government clearly is committed to its agenda of creating jobs for the people.
Do we know how many have been created now?
Several have been created in the planting for food and job space. Figures have been put out, we all know. NABCO is absorbing people. And I agree. NABCO is not a long-term venture. It's not.
It's an extended measure.
You can call it whatever name you want, but you sat in government, we had unemployment situation. You never thought of one solution, not one. Yet others have come, realizing the problem that we face and the reality that, look, all these private sector jobs that would accommodate these people cannot be created in 1 year. Yet, we cannot look on for our graduates to go waste. Place them in various models that have been designed, well explained, so that at least we can provide them some cushion. They contribute to the development of this country. Once we equip them with employable skills, you said there's no skill that these people are going to acquire over the 3-year period that they are going to work in various sectors of the economy. What kind of conclusions are that?
What skills would they acquire if you post what to revenue Ghana?
What skills is there?
Is he not gaining management skills?
Okay.
They are no
going to be managers.
Okay. But if they work in industry, middle level, these are graduates. Listen,
sorry.
These are graduates that are intended to be in middle to higher level management roles. Various skill sets are required in any employment. And many of these people, when they apply themselves, and the chief executive said it, that the sustainability of this program, the value that will generate is for people to apply themselves.
How do we measure this?
But of course, they have supervisors. They are not working on their own. They are working in already existing establishments. So the expectation is that their supervisors would provide the requisite supervision and measure their input towards our economy. So let's not, you see, we can talk the talk that you are talking now. In 2008, you talked. You were given opportunity for 8 years. The best you could do was to throw up your hands in the air when governments had worked to extricate ourselves from IMF control to take us back because you couldn't manage the economy. You were completely saddled with fiscal discipline. You went back running to the IMF to come and bail you out. We have your track record. You sat and plunged this country into darkness. Do you know the effect on unemployment during that period? Yet, today, a government that has spent 20 months is measured by the same yardstick by a government that was in power for 8 years. How do you even begin to measure the two? But look, I'll tell the people.
What is the progress made so far? Are you able to quantify?
Many. The IMF that they ran to after assessing their performance in 18 months told us in their reports. If you read the mid-year budget review statement, it's in there. They haven't challenged it. That all the benchmarks that were set by them have not been met. 18 months after the same IMF assessing the performance of this economy under the able management of Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta gave a positive outlook that all the benchmarks are on course. This country is growing. The
economy is growing.
Absolutely. The figures speak for themselves. Of course, there are challenges. I will not sit here and pretend as if to say over the past 20 years we've transformed Ghana into heaven. We haven't. But the steps that we are taking clearly point to a country that is growing. Look, this unemployment situation and the job losses at the ports and media and all those kinds of things. These are private sector entities. In any event, since this government came, not a single tax apart from the AU levy, which is an Africa-wide implementation of a certain policy, has been imposed on anything that is importable in this country. So what are we talking about?
Okay. I'm grateful. And I wish you to come in.
No, you see, on the way note he ended, I agree with him. Maybe not a single tax has been introduced. But the irony and deception again that he hates to hear is that all the taxes they criticize have been extended. The period of all the taxes they criticize have been extended. That's the deception he doesn't want. That's the deception he doesn't want to hear about.
But all the taxes that were scrapped and reduced, 15 of them.
ESLA, for example, has been extended. The stabilization, all of them, they have been extended.
The stabilization levy.
They have all been extended. All those that they criticize, they have all been extended.
I thought
that is the deception he doesn't want to hear. Even though they promise to remove them and say and call them all kinds of names, nuisance tax and all. That's the deception he doesn't want to hear.
So the 15 taxes that were reduced or scrapped,
that's just by the way.
Now,
right, it's important for us to talk about the unemployment situation, the joblessness situation, and the hopelessness that many people who are unemployed face, and put it in proper context. He says, for example, that the NDC government had no idea and we threw our hands in the air. Now, that's a complete lie. If you take the Youth Employment Agency, which was started by President Kufuor in another rash manner just like this NAPCO, after he was faced with an election, when he also promised to create jobs in 2000, didn't have any law backing it. And so, if you look at the Youth Employment Agency report after the investigations that was carried out by a visionary leader, it revealed that the mess in that establishment started from its establishment. So you have Nana Komia and Boniface and others all playing roles.
That's not true. I have a copy of that report.
Look. Beza,
that's not true.
Let's not go there.
It's not true.
You are not the only one who have a copy of that report.
What are you talking about?
And we all have read it. So it was a systematic problem. So the recommendation was for us to ensure that we insulate it from that abuse. Now a law was promulgated in Parliament and the checks and balances now put in place. And the money that goes to that place now increase to create the jobs that, it created initially, but now with insulation from abuse.
Were not extended.
Move on to youth enterprise support, which we started, which they have embraced but rebranded. Again, they don't want to give the credit. It's all right. Once it serves its purpose, we are not propagandists. We are not really into the communication of whatever we do. We want the benefits to be felt by the beneficiaries. So youth enterprise support was our brainchild. And like I'm saying, if they had given just a fraction of the 840 million they will, throw away in the name of extended national service, it would have created more jobs. Now let's look at even the infrastructure development that we brought as a party and the job creation and how it relates to job creation. Look, the schools that we were building were not built by government people. There were contracts given to people. Those contractors recruited people to work for them. If you went to every district assembly, they either were constructing a market or a road. Those constructions led to job creations. The people who were doing those constructions employed people in the communities. Today, no district assembly is even capable of running their own, cost, just fuel cost and paper because of all the centralization of expenditure. They have spent all the assemblies' money in Accra, and so the assemblies cannot even, grade a road today. Now, if you move there, if you move from there, look at the health sector.
Why do we
the hospitals, and the clinics?
No, it's not true.
The hospitals and the clinics that we constructed.
Every quarter, the district assembly's common fund administrator disburses funds and sends letters and compete you. Yet you sit here and say the funds have been centralized.
Why do we do this? You hold your breath. Please allow you.
The hospitals and clinics that we were constructing led to the employment of fabricators, the employment of people even with just POP skills. It led to the creation of jobs. Today, those hospitals are not being constructed. So you can imagine the frustration of people with such skills. Even just the roofing of the house, the carpenters all had jobs to do. Okay. Now, if you move from the construction and look at even, the employment generated by the facility itself, you needed cleaners, you needed nurses, you needed doctors, you needed accountants, you needed, people who will even in some cases be auditors. These were all ways of creating jobs. So when we talked about infrastructure and people say that infrastructure we go chop. It is important that we are honest enough as those who are privileged to have education and understand how economies have transformed over the period to understand how those impact on job availability or the non-existence of jobs.
I am grateful. Let me pick on my last one. China.
There are no hospitals that are being. Now let me rebut these statements. There are no hospitals that are being built in this country.
Honorable Mr. Let's move.
Yet you sat in Parliament.
Let's go to China.
And during the wee hours of our rising, you approved facilities for construction of hospitals in this country. Yet you sit here and say that no construction is being done.
Move on.
Why do we do this?
Let me give you a few minutes to touch on China. We're told that 8 major initiatives signed. We are told that several goodies are coming in. All of them good.
I'm surprised, actually.
One key thing raised is the $50 billion bond that was spoken about. Now, this is our journey to China and back and what we're expecting. How good it is. We'll get deeper, but we don't have a lot of time.
I think it's been a very fruitful trip that His Excellency the President made. Starting with a state visit at the invitation of the Chinese president, and subsequently attended the Forum of China-Africa Countries Summit. Let me, before I even go into the substantive agreements that were signed, you see, there is some hula baloo that, as usual, our brothers on the other side are raising regarding the president's intention.
The 50 billion thing.
Yes, of course. Ghana hasn't raised 50 billion. The
Ghana is only
indicated
considering
that we are considering the possibility of putting together some long-term fundraising to fund our development agenda. And that if our finance minister and the economic management team puts together the proposal to raise up to 50 billion, he would encourage the Chinese to participate in that bond. Of course, we haven't gotten there. If we get there and the decision is taken and the requisite approvals are sought from Parliament, of course, I would happily defend it when we get to that point that the decision is taken. So
but is Ghana's
our friends,
economy big enough to take $50 billion?
That is why there is a consideration.
So the worry is that if it is being considered, why put a figure to it?
But they are considering raising up to that amount. What is wrong with that?
I see.
Do you know
when the economy can't take 50 billion?
What do you mean by the economy can 50 billion?
Is Ghana's economy big enough to take 50 billion?
We all are here and consistently been told that we have in excess of 2 billion annually in infrastructure deficit. Or you haven't heard it?
I have. We're talking about 50
that
billion.
Translates to 25 years. And of course, if we're raising a bond for 50 years, it doesn't mean that when we go to the market, we're going to pick 50 billion.
So it could be less than 50 billion.
It could be all the way up to 50 billion. And even if we're doing 50 billion, it could be tranches. But people have all of a sudden, because the contemplation of that possibility gives them the jitters.
What is the possibility in here?
I said even the thought of it, that hey, these people are going to raise 50 billion. What would it do to our electoral fortunes in 2020 if that eventuality happens? Well, so even before the consideration of the matter, the approval has taken place. They've taken arms, forcefully, vehemently, opposing something that a decision has not even been taken on. It tells you clearly their mindset. I thought the people who said that they were the only party that has built the huge infrastructure of this country, more than Kwame Nkrumah all the way to President Rawlings and Kufuor combined, would be happy if a government is considering raising that kind of funding to enhance the infrastructure that they built. But of course, it will impact their fortunes in an election. So they are not happy. Same with the 2 billion. A policy that came, agreements that came to Parliament, that was debated, The committee wrote a report, presented to the plenary. A debate took place, and it was approved. They know the impact of what that amount is going to do.
Did the minority disapprove of that agreement?
If, of course, they didn't have the numbers.
But did they disapprove of it?
You see, what we fail to recognize is that Parliament, when they take a decision, it's a collective decision.
But did they disapprove of it?
Why did they run to IMF raising issues?
You have not answered my question. Did they disapprove?
Of course, they disapprove of it.
Okay. Now, I'll
their
get you
actions post the approval of Parliament tells me that they disapprove of it. These people who love Ghana more than anybody else.
I have just very little time. Let me get Honorable Suluhu to come
that will improve.
But let's start on the 50 billion thing quickly.
Yes, because you didn't allow me to talk about the factories also we created, a ceramic factory and others that created jobs. But that's all right. I mean, I think the benefit of the visit to China is the deepening of, diplomatic relations between the two countries. It's important that we maintain that strong relationship that Ghana has with China. I recall the last time a president went there was during the tenure of President Mills, and we discussed the possible assessment of the 3 billion Chinese loan at the time. Unfortunately, we couldn't get all of it.
Because you didn't meet the conditions, President.
Well, we were told that out of the 20 billion, 19 billion was going to come last August. In fact, we are in September. So it's not Uhuru yet. Don't even start jubilating. You see, I'm just telling you that it is important that those diplomatic relations are deepened. Whether we always get everything or not, it's important to have diplomatic relations with China. So I commend, the president and the Chinese government for, maintaining and, if you like, deepening the relationship that we have. But you see, again, I have to go back to my favorite word this morning: deception. This is a government, when it was in opposition, said everything bad about borrowing. Everything that you can think of that is negative.
Responsible borrowing?
It's all right. What I'm saying is that everything that you can think of that is bad about borrowing, they led the charge on that. And they even went as much as saying that we had money in this country. We yet in Nasika. You recall? I have worked before at the Bank of Ghana, and I know the money is here. So everything about borrowing. Now this is the same party that says that they want to put Ghana in debt for 100 years.
They're considering.
They are considering. That's what I'm saying. They want to.
That's our daily graphic.
They want to put us in perpetual debt for 100 years.
Government is considering.
That's when I said they want to. It's the same thing. Right. They want to.
Okay.
I'm not saying they have. I said they want to. So they are considering. They want to put us in debt so that your children that you are giving birth today, their children, my children, their children will be born indebted to Chinese children who are yet to be born. That's what it means. They criticize borrowing. They said it is bad for us to be in debt.
Now they criticize responsible borrowing.
Now they right. What is so
the liability that you were taking? They were giving us assets.
They said borrowing to chop is irresponsible.
Look at the needs of Ghana today. Look at the needs of Ghana today. What is so responsible in borrowing to meet the so-called needs of Ghana today, so that a child that will be born 50 years from today will have different needs, but will be in debt that was acquired 50 years before he was born? What is responsible about such borrowing?
I have to wrap up.
So I'm saying that the deception that they came with is what is going to consume them. Now you talk about the minorities' reservation about this 2 billion that they are assessing. We are not afraid of what that 2 billion will do, because as a party we have always been committed to the development of this country. We are saying that, again, don't lie to the people that it is not a loan. So let us, exactly, so that's the point. Let us categorize it appropriately.
The IMF will take that decision.
So that
the IMF has written to the finance minister.
In about 10 years' time, In about 4 years' time, in about 2 years' time, when another government is in power, or when the government, as we are in opposition, because if you take that 2 billion, in 2021, inshallah, I know it's going to be the NDC's responsibility to service it. So we want to know the categorization. So when we are doing our manifesto, we know how much as a country we owe and what we can do with it in future. But we are deceiving the people again that is not a loan. Yet everything about it qualifies as a loan.
Let's leave it to the IMF to take that decision. We are told that the IMF has written to the finance minister. If you take a look at the BNFT, IMF are asking for time to decide on the 2 billion deal. We're grateful. Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Honorable Alhaji Suini, was here, a member of the NDC. Honorable Andrew Ejapa Mesa is from the Sekondi constituency. He's their MP, a member of the NPP. Grateful once again for your time. Stay with us. Sports is up next.
Welcome back. So we're still talking about the biggest thing to hit the tech industry. We're still talking about the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. And joining me in studio to tell us more about it, I have Tracy Che. She's the marketing manager for Samsung Ghana. Good morning, Tracy.
Hi, good morning.
Good to have you on set.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start off. Samsung is positioning the Note as the most powerful device today's achiever can have. Tell us why.
Yeah. Well, for starters, there are a lot of phones out there that have so many different really good features, but the Note is the Note. No other phone can compare to the Note or can boast of being the Note. There's only just one Note. And we say it's the most powerful device because it's that device for power users, given in like the features and all the things that it can give you.
Right.
So I'll start with the S Pen. The S Pen, we only have the S Pen with the Note. This year we've enabled the S Pen, so it's a Bluetooth enabled S Pen, which allows you to control certain app or launch certain apps on your phone. So by just clicking the S Pen, for instance, you can launch your camera, you can turn it to the front camera or the rear view camera, and this really helps if you want to take a selfie, maybe with your family. You know, you don't need to be figuring out with your hand what to press. You just click on the S Pen and it takes that photo. We all know it's a pen, and there's some traditional things that we don't really want to move away from. So like writing. So as a business professional, if you're going into a meeting, you don't really need to think about, I need a pen, I need a book. You just have your Note on hand. We have features like the off-screen memo, which is one of my favorite, because anytime you have an idea or you want to write down a reminder, you just pull out the pen and you can just write on the screen, which is off. So it doesn't even have to be activated or on. You just write on it, and you can actually keep it on your screen. So the off-screen memo, you can put it on your always display, and you would always be reminded of things that you need to do. We also have the storage, which has been increased. It's a baseline 128 GB, but for somebody who needs extra storage, if you do, you can up it with an SD card, 512 GB, and that's a lot of storage space. I also love the fact that the Note, a lot of business professionals have two numbers, you know, and you have to struggle with two phones and charging and keeping up. But with the Note 9, it's a hybrid. So we already have 128 GB. So you may not necessarily need that extra 512. So you can decide whether to have two SIM cards or trade off one SIM card and have the memory card, the SD card. So I think it's perfect for a lot of business professionals. We also upped the battery, which literally can take you all day. I've gone through a lot of tech reviews. We had Philippa Sean do the review, and he testifies to the fact that it will take you all day. So when you have those days when you're going between meetings or activities or events and you don't have time to charge, you don't really need to think about charging your phone or getting a charger or whether your battery is going to die, because your Note has you covered. It will take you throughout the day with some extra juice to probably, I don't know, do anything. If you wanted to take it 24 hours, you could. Yeah.
Tracy, let me just chip in this, because maybe I haven't been able to give in my review yet. But right here, I have tried the Samsung Note 9, and I would say I have days where I go and oftentimes I'll need my, you know, power cable because I'm thinking my battery is going to die. But with this, I haven't had the need to. I even get home and I still have some battery power remaining. So truth be told, I think your power is great with the Note 9. But anyway, tell us about the DeX cable. You're giving it as a free gift for people who pre-order. But what exactly is the function of that cable?
Okay, so one of the key functions of the DeX cable is that it turns your phone into a computer-like experience. Right. And so again, for the business professional who's always on the go, you want to work, you want to, for instance, even if you're going for a meeting, you know, you can connect your DeX cable with an HDMI cable to any monitor, any size, anywhere, you know, and you would get that PC-like experience, and you can run your presentations, you can send emails, you can go through Excel files, like do all of these cool things and all these like really professional things that you would want to do on your device. Already, the Note 9 is a big screen, 6.4 inches, so you can do so many things in it. But in an event where you want a bigger screen or you need to present something, you can just always slot in your cable, which is about this long. So it's not carrying a lot. You can, once you slot in your cable, you can turn your phone into like a trackpad, so like a mouse. And then you can also have your keyboard on your phone. My colleague Tete is in the studio, so he can do the demo for you to see exactly what I'm talking about.
So Tete is standing by. He's going to show us what the cable does, how it transforms your phone to be able to still do your work and whatever it is that Tracy's telling us about. Tete, good morning.
Good morning, Anama. Thank you for having me. So, like Tracy rightly said, Samsung DeX is a solution that allows you to turn your phone into a laptop. Okay. So with just your phone, a DeX cable, and any screen at all in the world, you can connect your phone and you can work away from your office, basically. Okay. So you can check your emails, you can do presentations and stuff like that. So I'll give a quick demo on how to do it. This is the DeX cable. Okay. You connect it to the HDMI, and all you need to do is just plug it into your phone, and it'll open up the DeX, which is just like your laptop, a complete desktop experience, which allows you to do a lot of things. So what I'm going to do, normally you can connect your mouse, a Bluetooth mouse and a Bluetooth keyboard. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my phone as a mouse to actually get the task done. So I'll do that quickly, and then just to show you how this is done. So now I'm using basically my phone as a trackpad, and then I'll open a presentation. So I'm going to give a presentation to my board. We'll put this in presentation mode. And the really fun thing is you can use, because the pen is Bluetooth, you can use the pen to control the presentation. So when I click, I can change the presentation to another, to go to the next presentation. I click again, I go to the next presentation, and so on. And I can also, for example, I want to highlight here the wireless charger. So I can just go here, and I will use it to highlight it really nicely, quickly. So I can use the pen basically to control the presentation and do things of that nature. So, I mean, all you need to do is have your phone and the DeX cable, and you've turned your PC into something that basically you can use whilst you're on the move. The next thing I will show briefly is email. So I want to basically just send an email whilst I'm on the move. So let's come to my Gmail here for a second. So this is my email, and I can send a new email. And the fun thing is, it actually gives me a keyboard here. So I can type quickly. As you can see, I can go to the subject, let's say presentation, and I can go next, and I can type thanks for the presentation.
Nice.
Very simple.
Very
and then
simple.
once I'm done,
oh, you're sending that to Tracy.
Yep.
Nice.
Send. Okay. That's how simple it is. The last one is YouTube. I can go open my YouTube just to show our viewers how simple it is, and I can run my YouTube straight away from here. You can see the videos that are on there. Let's just click any of them. You read that right. And right away, I'm watching a YouTube video right on the screen. This is how simple it is. I can make it max, I can close it so many things I can do on the screen. So this is how simple it is. Imagine you are traveling to another office outside the country. You don't need to carry your big laptop anymore. Just take your phone, plug it with your DeX cable, plug it to an HDMI adapter, and your screen, and you're just good to go. You can work whilst you're away from the office.
Well, kudos. Thank you so much, Tete, there, showing us how to use the DeX cable. I think it makes it really cool. What he mentioned is the fact that you don't need to carry the laptop, which is a problem.
Yeah.
Because now you're thinking about your luggage, the laptop, and you always have to keep it under lock and key because you don't want someone stealing that. But since the phone is so portable, it makes it easy.
It does.
Great. Congratulations to you, Samsung. But tell us about the Note 9. People want to get it. Is it available in Ghana now?
Yes, so the Note 9 is currently available at all our authorized dealer shops. Those who pre-ordered should rush and get all the gifts that they pre-ordered it with. So yes, it is available at all authorized dealer shops.
Okay. Before you leave, as a business professional, what functions do you use the most?
I think the off-screen memo. It's the best thing for me because anytime something comes into my head, all I do is just pick up my phone and just jot it down. So for me, the S Pen is the best thing. Plus, this is what really makes the Note a Note. And like I said, no other phone in this world is a Note.
Very well. But in coming up, I mean, most things are as good as they come.
Yeah.
Have you had any other reviews that are suggesting that there may be some issues that they're worried about? And how would you address these?
No, some of the reviews that I have seen, it was in comparison between like the Note 8 and the Note 9. So the battery. Yes, the Note 8 was a fabulous, awesome phone. It won Best Display 2017, yes, last year. So what people have been comparing it to is the battery size. And the fact that though the Note 8 was great, it couldn't last you all day. And now we have the Note 9 and the features have been upped. And so literally, like you were even attesting yourself, the Note 9 will take you through the whole day. So far this was a, I guess, positive but negative to the Note 8, but a very positive comment or remark for the Note 9. Yes.
And I'm sure it's because you listened to your customers and you came up with something awesome.
You know, Samsung, before we end, Samsung really uses its technology, innovations, and people to develop devices that enhance the lives of consumers. So that's the reason why Samsung comes up with all of these fantastic features to enhance the life of consumers. So we can only listen to them.
Nice. Since the Note 9 seems to work mostly using the S Pen, I mean that added feature. I'm sure there's a concern. What if my S Pen gets spoiled or the button isn't working? Are you able to replace one that will work effectively?
Well, I believe you'll be able to purchase an S Pen, but we also have a service center, you know, that can look into some of these issues. Yes.
And so once the original one gets spoiled, it doesn't mean that's the end.
No, it doesn't mean that's the end. Yes.
Anyway, so Tracy, final word from you from Samsung to your viewers and customers.
I would like to say that the Note is the best device on the market. It's for that power user, for business professionals, even for creative people, because I've seen a lot of people who use the Note to do a lot of drawings. We have several apps like PenUp. We can even teach you how to draw or create very nice imagery or other creative things. So it's not just for the business professional. It's for everybody who really wants the most out of a device. And if you're going to buy an expensive device, you need one that can really enhance your life, can make you more creative, can make you do what you don't think you can ordinarily do. And that is what the Note 9 gives you.
Nice. You mentioned expense, so people would need to know the cost. How much is it going for?
It's currently retailing for $4,500.
Anyway, guys, so you've heard it all from Samsung Ghana. They've made good deals for you. They've come out with Galaxy Note 9, the best for any person who's on the run and on the go. If you want battery, they've got it. Camera, they've got it. They've got the S Pen that does all the magic in the world. And I have been speaking to Tracy Chase. She is the marketing manager. And Tete Akono was also in studio to demo exactly how the DeX cable works. I'm sure they've been able to at least teach you how to use it. And that alone makes you excited about getting the S Note. So please go out there and get the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. It's in Ghana. So go out there and grab yours. We'll be back with more here on Newday. Stay with us.
Happy birthday to Tara at EcoBank. Tara is head of consumer banking at EcoBank. From all of us here at TV3 and Media General, we say happy birthday to you. May your life be long and may all the goodness of the Lord befall you. If it's your birthday today as well, happy birthday. But let's get into a conversation with a legal practitioner, a former member of parliament for the Akutia constituency, also an NDC national organizer, hopeful, Baba Jamal. Chief, good morning. How are you doing? You've been missed.
I am around. Yes.
How have you
I
been?
just went to hide my ancestor. It's more in the
courtrooms and practicing. So I have researched.
Has been a life off the cameras and everything, practicing your law?
Oh, yes. I don't think that I went off completely.
Okay.
I've been in and out. But I think that I was spending more time in the chambers and in the courtroom. So but duty has called me back to the political scene. So I'm coming back as the national organizer, hopefully, and so it's good.
Ascolondo, that's your Nikki. You still use it?
Yes. Everybody call me Ascolondo. That was a name given to me by the media.
Okay.
Because it was Kwame Sefakai who named me Ascolondo. Okay. It's a name of a river in Akwetia.
Right.
And so it has become my nickname.
But why would he name you Ascolondo?
No, we're talking about how rivers were polluted or are polluted.
Okay.
And then I mentioned that name, that it is one of the rivers that when we were kids, we were bathing and swimming in it. Right. But now, because of pollution, we can't even swim in it. And he mentioned what's the name, and I said, well, the actual name is Abanza. Okay. But when we were children, we were calling it Ascolondo.
Okay.
So then he started calling me Ascolondo, and that time, Peace FM was virtually the only radio station around, and so it got caught fire, and it has become my name. But I love it. It's a good name,
What does Baba Jamal bring into the table as organizer of the party? You've been an MP and held other positions. What are you bringing?
Yes, I'm not bringing anything new. I'm bringing the same magic that I brought together with my colleagues in 2008 and took MPP off the seat. It's the same thing I'm bringing back. I'm bringing the same dedication, the same commitment, the zeal and desire to die a little for the party. That's what I'm bringing back.
That magic didn't work in 2016.
It worked. But when we were in party office, I was in the party office as the Deputy General Secretary for 8 years.
Right.
And that's why all the other colleagues that are contacting me are all my engineers or my people who I helped to train, So that time, the commitment, when you hear names that time like Ofosu Ampofo, Ama Benuado, Tumesia Pia, these were committed guys. Haruna Idrisu, and some few that I can remember. Agbemanole, Inusa. Those names were very serious names. And when they are coming for a program, then you know that you have a lot on your hand. Okay. And the same commitment and the zeal to work is what I'm bringing back.
So this current crop of executives, they didn't have it? Is that the suggestion?
I won't say they didn't have it. Maybe what they had was not enough to maintain power.
Asiedun Ketia, Kofi Adams,
is a colossus.
Anita De Soso.
I'm saying that Asiedun Ketia is a colossus. Anita, Kofi Adams, whoever, they were all good guys, wonderful guys. But you see, circumstances sometimes determine what you can do.
Which circumstances, for example?
For example, in 2016, our own internal problems worried their work.
Okay.
Our own internal policies that we took. For example, one of it is the way we elected our parliamentary candidates.
Okay.
Opening up the register when we don't even know our members. So it increased the acrimony on the ground, and it affected their work. 2, allowing DCs, presidential staffers to be contesting MPs on the ground. These were serious problems that affected the work of the executives on the ground. And then also the way our resources were distributed. We didn't have a center. It was dispersed. Do you understand? So these are issues that I think that any other executive would have been affected with it. But you see, we are learning from history. So that's why I don't want to blame my predecessors too much or say that they didn't do.
You're already voting them out of office. You say predecessors.
Oh yes, because in the next 1 month they will be out.
All of them?
Of course. All of them, and those who will be re-elected will join the new one.
Who would you, among the team, who would you want re-elected? Who don't you want there?
I don't want to.
You're saying that, Council, you're saying that you've been there for 8 years, prior to 2016.
Yes.
There was a team. You say that they
I've worked with
Ketia,
and I know he's a very good.
So you'd want Asiedun Ketia to say?
I won't say that, but I'm saying that I've worked with them. I'm telling you what I know about them. As to who comes is a decision of the delegates.
I'm asking you if you have a chance to vote. You have a chance to vote.
Yes, I'm going to vote. I'm saying that I've worked with Asiedun Ketia, and I know
he is a nice person to work with. He's a hard working. I've worked with people like Ofuzompo. I've seen him work. I've worked with Auntie Betty. I've worked with a crop of people. Auntie Betty, wonderful personality to be with. I've worked with even Kofi Adam. When I was Deputy General Secretary, Kofi Adam was the Deputy Youth Organizer, and I've worked with him. So I know all those guys. So. And no person, only very few, maybe the young ones who are coming up now that I don't know. I know almost everybody, 99% of them, I know them personally, and I have the opportunity to work with them. So, any of them who come is the decision of the delegates. In advising the delegates, I have always said that if you know the person who can help us win power, and you don't vote for the person, and you vote for any other person, for any consideration whatsoever, you would have failed the party.
Who do you feel comfortable working with if you had a chance to become organizer of the party? Who would you feel comfortable working with? Let's build a virtual team.
Let the delegates build a team for us. They know better.
You say there's a certain magic that existed back in the day.
That's what I'm saying. That let the delegates decide for us who they think will win them power.
Top three.
What we can do is to advise them. And that's what I'm doing here.
Top three things that Baba Jamal would do if he becomes national organizer. What are you?
The first thing is that I'm going to build a database of all our members, which we already have, but I'm going to ensure that it becomes more deepened. Two, to ensure that our branches are all well informed. Now, by virtue of technology, we can keep everybody on one platform and make sure that everybody is in there and we work with them. We'll provide them with the necessary logistics on the ground so that they can also, the input and output feedback information system is one thing that, because one of the things that affected us was lack of information, because the information was not flowing the way we wanted it. And I think that is one thing that I'm going to do.
Speaking of that, the Kwesi Botwe report, have you seen it?
I've not seen it, but I've read excess of it.
So you want to be organizer. This is a committee that says the party did these wrongs, these are the recommendations. You have not seen
I don't need Kwesi Botwe to come and tell me what went wrong.
He was not the only person.
And I'm saying that I don't need Kwesi Botwe's report to tell me what went wrong. I've already given you three key major things.
Was the committee unnecessary?
Of course it was necessary. It was a good exercise. But I'm saying that with my experience in NDC leadership for close to 2 decades. I know what went wrong in 2016, and that's why I'm coming back.
Do you support President Mohammed's bid to come back?
I've made that public a long time ago, even before I decided to become national organizer. I've made that bid. I'm not changing my position. But let me also add that I respect every individual's right to come and contest. I respect them. These are big men who have a lot of respect, and for that matter, I don't doubt their capability. But under the circumstances, I have declared my support for John Mahama long time ago, about a year ago, when I've not even decided to come for national organizer. And I'm not changing that position now.
Honorable Kujianka, a respected educationist politician who in fact worked with President Mahama, says he would wish that President Mahama would reconsider his decision. You read that?
I read that
What do you make of it?
It has come a bit too late. It's a good advice, but it has come a bit too late. The president has decided to come. There are compelling reasons why he should come back, to come and safeguard this country. And he will not be the first person who have done that. We saw that in the American history. We saw that even our next door neighbor, Benin, we saw Karakou going and coming back. We've seen it in other countries that have been. So it is not only him who is doing that.
Was President Mahama the problem in 2016?
Never.
He was not. Who was?
All of us.
All of you?
Yes. All of us were part of the problem. All of us took the decision to have our electoral college expanded at National Executive Committee. And even though some of us opposed it, but majority accepted it, and we went by it. It's just all of us who created that problem. In fact, that decision alone took, it's 50% of our problem.
That was deepening democracy within the party.
Yes, but you see it as a problem. Democracy must be controlled. Democracy, even though you are deepening it, must be, strategically controlled. You don't just open the doors when you don't even know your members. As at that time, we didn't even have a biometric based data on our people like we have today. So, and today we are still working on it. And that's why we are going to use it this time, because it's not going to help us.
Right.
Then also, it is all of us who decided that DCs and whatever should be allowed to vote, to contest sitting MPs. It's not John Mahama. It is all of us. Both the national executives, the regional executive. If the regional executives have come together to say, we will agree, it wouldn't have happened. So it is not. So when you blame John Mahama, you are blaming John Mahama for nothing. John Mahama, as an individual, may have his own shortcomings. You understand? As all of us. But in losing this election, you can't blame only John Mahama. You can't blame only national executive. You can't blame everybody.
Is Baba Jamal antagonistic? Are you a quick-tempered person?
You know me. I've been in the media.
That's what the people are saying.
No, I'm saying I've been in the media for close to 25 years. I started media as a student leader.
Right.
If I'm that quick-tempered and antagonistic, I wouldn't be here today with you. 25 years when I was even younger, less than maybe 20 years, when I started, and I've held responsible positions throughout my life. Do you understand? Even as a student leader, I was from, let me tell you, my political leadership started when I was just class 6 I was in class 6, cupboard boy. When I started as cupboard boy, I went through, came to the secondary, I was the SRC representative for my class, Form 1, Form 2. I became the Pan-African president in Laboni as the chairman of the Pan-African students. I was a Gunsa.
You have a lot of experience to share.
Executive member. I went to sixth form. I was the vice president of JIMSA. I went to the University of Ghana. I was the local NUCS president. I was the JIMSA president. I came out. I was the coordinating secretary for the entire NUCS. Before I entered
so you have a lot of experience. What is your relationship now with the people at NEMA? I'm curious about. We have just 2 minutes to go. We have just 2 minutes to go. Sorry about the council. Forgive me.
No problem.
What's your relationship with the people at NEMA?
Wonderful. I lived in NEMA for close to.
They chased you away when you wanted to.
They did not.
The reports were
Some
false.
people, out of their own fear,
who
didn't want me to be part of a process. But now, those same people, other one people are even calling back for me. But I am saying that I am a NEMA born bred. I lived in Akwetia as well. My parents are still in Akwetia. If anybody knows me more in NEMA.
Is that why you abandoned your MP ambitions to become a party?
I never declared anywhere I was going for NEMA. Did I?
Okay. That's also the report.
I never declared anywhere.
You were former deputy minister.
There were some rumors around that time. But it's okay. I didn't declare anywhere. But there were rumors. There was rumors. There were a lot of things on table for me. And I considered all the options, and I've decided.
But you are a former deputy minister for employment and labor relations. People are losing their jobs. Banks are collapsing.
Yes, because you have people who
What advice would you have given if you were in that saddle?
Tell the government to go back to the drawing board. Stop the propaganda that they are doing. Sit down with businessmen and consider their plight. Know that you can't run a country based on propaganda and what you wish and your idealistic ideas. They should come to the realities that this country is a developing country, and for that matter, there are certain shock absorbers that the country or the government must provide to absorb the shocks in the economy, especially for businessmen, especially for those in the markets and whatnot. But when you come with an aggressive policy and think that you can transform Ghana in 18 months, you'll be dreaming, and that's what will happen.
Banking
you will
fraud
see that
is
people will be losing their jobs when
banking fraud is in propaganda.
Is also
banking fraud is in propaganda. Where people file fake documents and declare wrong
that's
figures.
What I'm saying.
That's
that
propaganda
the results of to resolve that problem is not to be collapsing and emerging banks. You can, as a government, also provide shock absorbers, buy shares in it, and let it work.
So, Baba Jamal, the regional elections have gone on over the weekend.
Peacefully.
What trend do you see?
I see a wonderful trend, a government in the making. Because they're so peaceful, the people who have been elected are very competent people, were elected on their own merits, clearly so peaceful and clearly showing that NDC is forming
the party cleaning up people who are not in support of John Mahama?
Oh, no, that's
that
definitely cannot be possible because we have expanded our electoral college.
Asedu Ketia says there's a bit of tribalism in the
I am
NDC.
saying that we have expanded our electoral college.
Asedu Ketia says there's a bit of tribalism in the Ashanti region.
I'm not Asedu Ketia. Asedu might have said something.
I'm asking
what I'm
you.
saying that I have not seen
that. Is there
that.
tribalism in the party?
I have not seen that. What I know is that in politics, a lot of things can come to play.
Okay.
You are talking about ethnicity, you are talking about religion, you are talking about friendship, you are talking about money. But the most important thing that I always tell my people that they must vote party first.
Okay.
That's my point.
Baba Jamal, I thank you very much. And I wish you all the best.
All the best.
Grateful. And that's how the cookie crumbles here on TV3 Newday. We'll be back with some more tomorrow. Happy birthday one more time to Tara, head of consumer banking at the EcoBank. It's your birthday today as well. Enjoy. Be good. See you tomorrow.